Today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating system of knowledge. It's a framework that's designed not just for, your own personal growth, but it comes with the blueprint to reshape the entire future of humanity.
So let's just kick things off with a huge question, right? Because the material we're exploring today, well, it offers an equally huge and very specific answer. It puts forward the idea of a single body of knowledge that's powerful enough to literally alter the course of human history.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The source material argues that a fundamental reason for human suffering isn't just bad luck or circumstances. It's that a kind of supreme knowledge has been lost, or at least it's been totally inaccessible to most people.
Okay, so let's dig into this. To really get what this whole system is about, we first have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. And you could call it a cycle of generational suffering.
And wow, this slide lays it out in a pretty stark way, doesn't it? The claim is that both ignorance and enlightenment are self-perpetuating. The state of one generation directly locks in the fate of every generation that comes after. It's presented as a total all-or-nothing deal.
So the big question is, how do you break a cycle like that? How do you actually flip the switch from a world of ignorance to one of fullness? Well, the proposed answer is a very specific body of knowledge called the science of creative intelligence.
SCI is basically presented as this universal key, and it's described not just as some abstract philosophy, but as a practical, hands-on system for culturing life. It's a way to unlock a state of fulfillment so completely that it just becomes the default, the spontaneous way of living for everybody.
I just love this description. It frames this knowledge not as some rigid, complex doctrine you have to memorize, but as something subtle, something that infuses the practical, day-to-day parts of life with a sense of the profound, a whisper of infinity in just our normal activities.
So what's the end game here? It's nothing less than a fundamental shift in the human condition. Things like suffering and unfulfillment are basically reframed as just symptoms of ignorance, while enlightenment, well, that's presented as the natural baseline state that this knowledge is meant to unlock.
So how does this knowledge get from one person to another? Well, the source suggests it's not something you just learn from a book. It's actually passed directly through people.
The ideal teacher is described as a fully evolved person. And this means two things. First, they've achieved that full state of consciousness themselves, but, and this is just as important, they've also gained the ability to actually impart that evolution to others, to be, as the source puts it, both the knower and the exponent.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. The whole process of teaching goes way beyond just words. The teacher passes on this knowledge simply by their example, and get this, even through their silence. Their actual presence becomes a form of instruction.
And this metaphor just nails it, doesn't it? The overflowing teacup. The idea is, it's not about pushing information onto a student. It's about being so full of this creative intelligence that it just radiates, it spills over effortlessly, and influences everyone nearby, just like a teacup that's constantly being filled to the brim.
Okay, so let's say you've got this incredible knowledge and this unique way of teaching it. The next logical question has to be, how do you take this thing global? And this is where the whole framework moves from a personal philosophy into a really detailed world plan.
So the plan is basically built on two core pillars. First, you've got a central international university that acts as a guardian, and its whole purpose is just to maintain the purity of the knowledge. And second, you've got this huge decentralized network of training centers designed to distribute it to every corner of the planet.
Now, the scale of this plan is incredibly ambitious, and it's all based on a very specific ratio. The idea is that for every 1 million people in the world,
You establish one teacher training center. Simple enough, right?
But then each one of those centers will in turn train 1,000 new teachers.
So there you have it. That's the magic ratio. 1 million people, 1 center, 1,000 teachers. This is the mathematical backbone of the entire plan. It's a systematic approach designed to create enough qualified teachers to, at least in theory, reach the entire global population in a structured way.
And the source makes this point crystal clear. For this global plan to actually work, consistency is absolutely everything. Every single teacher has to follow the exact same procedure. This is to maintain the purity in the format of the teaching, making sure it works the same no matter where you are in the world. In all of this, the knowledge, the teachers, the massive global plan, it all brings us to the ultimate vision, the final goal that this entire system is designed to achieve.
So we come full circle, right back to this core claim. The problem of suffering, according to this source, only needs to be solved once. If just one generation can achieve this full development, it sets a permanent new standard for all of humanity.
The World Plan, then, isn't looked at as some temporary fix. It's designed to be a definitive, permanent foundation for a future where a life of fulfillment is just the norm, passed down automatically, generation after generation.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, turning the source's big promise into a question for you to think about. Is it possible? Can one generation really solve the problem of suffering for all time? It's a powerful idea for sure.